morning. Happy Monday. This is the 13th day of June. June is almost halfway over. Wow. My birthday month is going by so fast. And this is the 26th episode of season 4 of the Be Your Own Hero show. Hero is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. I paused for a second because I just heard someone use the word acrostic as in place of acronym. In place of acronym. Is anyone familiar with the word acrostic? I still haven't looked it up yet. But if anyone knows the word acrostic and if it means the same thing as acronym, drop that in the chat. I'm curious. Anyway, they use it in the same context, so I think it means the same thing, but I'm kind of wondering where that word is from. So acrostic versus acronym. All right. Again, this is episode 26 of season 4 of the Be Your Own Hero show. And I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative and the creator of the Hero Ministry movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire people in general and the unhoused community in specific. Shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this platform to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero and most specifically of becoming my own financial hero. If this show serves you in some way, please like, please comment, and please share. And just remember, I'm not a personal trainer nor am I a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence. All right, check me out here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Oh, wait, did I say 9:45? So that's Eastern time. Sorry, 8:45 a.m. Central. Okay, Hero Ministry Movement news. Let's jump into that. Today is day 378. I've been running every day, at least a mile a day for now, 378 days in a row. And I've got some news. So the marathon campaign is now up to 15%. Last time I talked about it, we were at 8%. And now we've jumped up to 15%. Shout out to, should I use her name? I think so. She didn't say anonymous. So shout out to Sandy. She found me on TikTok and has made the biggest donation to date. You can tell by the way the percentage jumped from 8% to 15% with one donation. She found me on TikTok. She left a note that says that she loves my spirit and she made a sizable donation to my campaign to compete in the 2022, this year's New York City Marathon. So again, I'm struggling with the way to phrase this, but basically the way that happens is I raise enough money for Back on My Feet nonprofit. It's a nonprofit based in Philly that teaches the unhoused community how to run, how to get up early in the morning and run and build their self-confidence, build their self-esteem, build their health, and through that, learn how to fend for themselves. And the nonprofit itself supports them in that. The more they do for themselves, the more the nonprofit supports them. So I'm really excited to be supporting that nonprofit and that is the way to the marathon for me. By the way, some of you have asked me about how to go about this process to be in the marathon. Well, I'm new to this, right? But apparently with every big race, really big race, not just marathons, but also 10Ks, 5Ks, every big race, there is a charity component called a fund, F-U-N-D, racer, fundraisers. So some people pay to participate in the race. Other people raise funds to participate in the race. And so what you would do is go to the website for the run and find the list of charities. And usually when you find the list of charities, there'll be some information about, like a little link is like, would you like to be a fundraiser? Would you like to raise funds? Would you like to be a hero? Something phrased like that. You click on that, and then that's how you sign up to be a fundraiser for that particular charity. And doing that gets you admission to the race. And you don't have to compete at a certain level. What do I mean by that? I mean that the people who apply to be in really big races like the New York Marathon and the Boston Marathon, have to qualify. They have to be a certain level of fast just to qualify, because once the marathon goes through, they need to reopen the city. But the fundraisers, do not have those kinds of restrictions. You can take your time and you can walk and you can kind of just meander through the course. As long as you cross the finish line, it's fine. So they may reopen the streets behind the fast runners, but the fundraisers can still walk along, use the sidewalk, and just get to the finish line. So I hope that clarified this. I feel like I might have muddied the waters even more. But basically, each big race has a listing of nonprofits that they're affiliated with, and those nonprofits are holding tickets to that race. And if you raise money for the charity, then that gets you admission to the race. Okay, that felt clear. All right, moving on. So shout out to my friend from TikTok for making a huge donation, Sandy. I really appreciate it. And moving on, just a quick story, quick sidebar story today. I was running at Turnip Truck, which is not a truck. It's a grocery store in Nashville. It's a chain of grocery stores, actually. And an unhoused man yelled out to me, "Go, King." And it's so funny to me that in my running, it's now been, as I said, 378 days. In my running, most often the people who react to me strongly are the people who are unhoused. Like other runners, there's, a little head nod, slight head nod, a little slight wave as we pass each other. Other people out on the street, maybe. Sometimes a good morning, not usually. But the unhoused, they seem to really see me when I'm running. And it's surprising to me, so it's probably surprising to you too. And not just in Nashville, in the various cities that I've run in, and I've run in at least 12 different cities, it tends to be the unhoused that acknowledge me. Strange, but true. Okay, moving on. Hero Ministry Movement news. Anything else I wanted to talk about? Oh, yes. So I finally figured out how to download the news story. As you know, I had posted it on YouTube because Channel 2 posted it on their YouTube channel. But I was trying to figure out how to download it so that I could post it myself so that people wouldn't have to click over to YouTube. I finally figured that out last night, so I posted it this morning. So I reposted the story. If you haven't seen it yet, it's up on both my Facebook and my Instagram. So you can just click right into it. Obviously, it's also on my website, or you can just go to the link, herocharityRun.com. Let me put that up so you don't have to think about it. herocharityRun.com, and it's right there on that homepage. Okay, and also on that homepage is a link to donate. As I just mentioned, we're at 15% now. I'm very excited that there's momentum. My goal is to raise $3,650 this month, the month of June, my birthday month. This is my birthday challenge this year. Raise $3,650 for Back on My Feet nonprofit. And in the process, that will secure my bid to run in the New York City Marathon this year. And we are at 15% already. So please like, please comment, please share, please donate if you can. And if not, once again, please share, please share, please share. HeroCharityRun.com. Okay, so moving on. Morning Zen. Actually, let's do the Dice Roll Challenge first. Dice Roll Challenge, last week, the number was 19. I told you the numbers individually last week, but I didn't add it up. So the total amount for last week is $19. $20. So the idea is to take $19 out of circulation and set it aside to invest. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking $19 isn't enough money to invest. You'd be surprised. One of the positions I have in the stock market costs $8 per share. And it's not even what do they call those? It's not even a penny stock. It's a real stock. $8 per share. And AT&T is only $20 per share. So last week's Dice Roll Challenge, has encouraged you to set aside enough to buy a full share of AT&T. Don't underestimate the power of these small amounts. Don't underestimate it. So set aside your 19 bucks. And today, let's start this week off. Here's the Monday roll. Easy day, $2. $2. Let me write that down so I can add it up later. $2 for Monday. Once again, we're setting money aside to invest because that's the biggest reason people give for not investing, but they don't have enough money to invest. This is you giving yourself the money to invest. Help you, help you, help you, help you. All right, so I wanted to circle back to the Morning Zen. So I've been talking about this book, Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman, and I'm going to keep talking about it today. I was reading a section of the book over the weekend and this morning that deals with pessimism. And I think I might have mentioned this before, but he suggests that even an average amount of pessimism, will stunt your growth in all areas of life. Just an average amount. So I'm going to read something he says about it. Oh, that's not it. Here we go. Research shows that people with pessimistic habits of thinking can transform mere setbacks into disasters. I'll read it again. Research shows that people with pessimistic habits of thinking can transform mere setbacks into disasters. That's called catastrophizing. That's when you take the proverbial molehill and turn it into the proverbial mountain. That's what that is. Catastrophizing. You think the worst possible thing when it comes up. And I think all of us are guilty of it at some point or another. Here's the thing to remember. At least this is the thing that I am remembering for myself. Like when I catastrophize, something happens, and let's just use an example. Like this is an example that I've heard from someone else. Like she reached out to someone and the person didn't reach back to her. And she made up this whole story about why that other person hated her, basically. That's a little bit strong, but pretty close to accurate. The other person hates me, doesn't want to get in touch with me, blah, blah, blah. She's ignoring me, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the other person finally gets back to her and was just busy, right? That's all it was. She was just busy. She hadn't had a chance to get back. This is important because what she didn't do is what most of us didn't do. What she did not do was take a beat and say, hey, I thought the worst about this situation. I thought that this woman didn't like me, that she was avoiding me, all these other things, and I was wrong. So let me take a beat to absorb the fact that I was completely wrong so that I can tweak my response for the next time. Most of us don't do that. Even those of us that catastrophize, we will catastrophize about an incident, let's just use the same one, and we won't take the time to recognize that we were wrong, to really think about the fact that we were wrong. And then we'll just go on to the next situation. Something else happens, and we think the worst, and then it doesn't turn out to be as bad as we thought it was. And again, we don't think, I was wrong. Let's take that in. Let's marinate in the fact that we were wrong, and we thought the worst of a situation that wasn't that bad. See, that's what you got to do. You got to take stock of reality versus your perceived reality. Because when you do that, gradually, slowly but surely, you'll learn to not overestimate the negative, to start paring it down. Like in real time, you'll be able to say, okay, yeah, I'm thinking all these crazy things, but the last 3 times I did that, that turned out to not be the case at all. But it doesn't work unless you take the moment to reassess. If you just move on, then you maintain the habit of catastrophizing. The next thing comes up, you're going to catastrophize again. Next thing comes up, you're going to catastrophize again. And you're building the muscle of catastrophizing. You get better and better at it. Not intentionally, but that's just the way the mind works. You keep doing it over and over again, you get better at it. You don't want to get better at catastrophizing. So And actually that reminds me of another book. Oh, so I'm going to read this again, then I'm going to read the passage from the other book. So from this book, this is Learned Optimism. Research shows that people with pessimistic habits of thinking can transform mere setbacks into disasters. Do not transform setbacks into disasters. Also, that reminded me of this other book called Tell Yourself a Better Lie, which is a great title, right? Here we go. That's not it. Okay, here we go. No matter what, okay, this one is also written by a cognitive behavioral therapist, right? So someone who is a psychologist. No matter what a person's issues are, the solution is the same for everyone. Change the story. Tell yourself a better version of the lie that has been ruining your life. Tell yourself a better version of the lie that has been ruining your life. So this is another way to talk about what we call the positive explanatory style. The things that happen to you, but you attach meaning to them. You attach a narrative to the things that happen to you automatically. So tell yourself a better lie is simply saying, well, tell yourself the best possible version of what happened to you. I paused because in the example with the woman I gave earlier, that wasn't past tense, that was right now, that's present tense. So you can do the same thing both in past tense and present tense. Like instead of saying, oh, she must hate me and she's avoiding me, tell yourself a better lie. You don't know what's going on, so it's still a lie, right? So you say, she must be busy. Just go with that. She must be busy. I know she can't wait to talk to me. It doesn't matter the explanation you give yourself. Meaning, saying that she hates you is untrue, right? You don't know that to be true. So saying that she's busy, also, you don't know that to be true either. But of those two choices, which is more positive? Which affects you in a better way? So that's kind of the theory of tell yourself a better lie. That you're making up stories all the time anyway. Make up better stories. Make up stories that feed you. Make up stories that support you. All right? So anyway, that was from Tell Yourself a Better Lie and also from Learned Optimism. Okay. All right, I'm done with that for now. Moving on out of Morning Zen. Okay. Oh yeah, there was one other thing. I'll get to that tomorrow. All right, so let's get into some abundance. Let's do our affirmation. I haven't done affirmation in a while. I think I might need to switch up the affirmation though. I think it's time for a new affirmation because when you say the same affirmation over and over again, it begins to be kind of rote. You forget to emote when you say it. It just becomes words that you repeat. So I'm gonna have to switch up the affirmation soon, but not today. Here we go. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Okay, so let's get into some abundance. Before I do that, let's check the chat, see who's popping in. Shout out to Nan, shout out to Tim, shout out to Margaretta. Yeah, Nan, this was brand new to me. Because, okay, quick sidebar. I think I got enough time. Quick sidebar. I was training for the half marathon, and the half marathon training included full marathon trainers, people who are training for the full marathon. And so the question would also often be, so what are you training for? You training for half or the full? Oh, I'm training for the half. Oh, you should train for the full. That kind of conversation. And then somebody asked me specifically if I was going to run in a full, and I was like, I don't think so. And then I just Googled it to see, maybe I'll look at the New York City Marathon. And it was like, registration is closed. And so I mentioned that to someone and they were like, oh yeah, but the fundraising is still open. And I was like, the what? So that's how I learned about fundraising. And by the way, someone that I referred to fundraising maybe last week said that most of them are full for the New York City Marathon. So they fill up quickly. So if you are thinking about getting into a race of some kind, especially a big race like a marathon, half marathon, apply to be a fundraiser early. There is no application process. You just sign up. But sidebar, if you don't raise the money, then you fall off, and then someone on the waiting list steps up to take your place. So that said, HeroCharityRun.com to help me raise enough money to secure my bid for the 2022 New York City Marathon. Okay, all right, back to abundance. I really don't know what I want to say about abundance today. I went back and forth about a few different things. So I'm just going to freestyle it and see what happens. I ended last week talking about Amazon, and I was trying to explain my thought process around Amazon. Like I mentioned that a friend of mine bought a full share of Amazon on my Say So, well, this show Say So, a while ago. And so when the stock split, it split into 20 shares. So he went from owning 1 share to 20 shares, which is fantastic. And my intention was to end up with 2 shares, like to put enough money in on the fractional side that I would end up with 20 shares. But in the process of doing that, I forgot to calculate the difference between the amount of money you put in and the actual value. So let this be a reminder to those of you that have gotten out of the bleachers and into the pool. It's important to pay attention to not just how much money you put in, but the actual value. Because as we know, the stock market fluctuates, it moves up and down. So I did put $300 in, but because of the fluctuations in the market, when Amazon went public, I'm sorry, not went public, when the stock split, my $300 was worth about $250 or so. So for the next time, for Google, and I mentioned this before, Google is doing a stock split too. My intention is to put in more than 300 to round up in case of any fluctuations. So you can do this with me. Google is going to split. They are going to go from same split. Each share is going to split into about 20 shares. So you can do the math. You can divide the current share price by 20, and that'll give you the approximate share price of the new smaller shares. So by my calculations, it should be about $125 per share, and that's rounding up. So you can buy now on a fractional exchange like Cash App or what's that other one? Robinhood. You can put up $150, $300. You can put the money up now in advance of the stock splitting, because when the stock splits, it's going to go up dramatically. On stock split day, it's going to go up dramatically because there's going to be all this excitement and frenzy about the fact that the stock is going up. So all that said, circling back, my intention this time is to put in a little more than the exact amount. The last time I did exactly $300. So this time I'll put in a little more to calculate for market fluctuations. And my intention is to walk away with at least 2 shares, because this time what I want to do is keep 1 share and sell the other share, and then just reinvest those profits right back into the stock market. So that is trading, which gives you a sense of how vast the world of trading is. We only think about it one way. We only think about what we see on TV, but that's trading. You buy at one price and you sell at another. And to me, it's about as simple as it could be. We know that there will be a kick in interest and therefore ROI on the day that stock splits. That's my alarm, because that's what happens historically. People get excited, and the stock market is an emotional creature. So you can plan now to get in early, and when the stock splits, sell some of what you've acquired. Because if you wait for the stock to split, yeah, you can buy in at a much lower price, but then you have to wait that much longer for the price to rise enough for you to sell it. Oh, I'm touching my nose. Did anyone do the nose touch test? I did it over the weekend. I had to touch my nose a couple of times. Again, we're touching our nose when we start shoulding on other people, telling them what they should or shouldn't do. Even if we're not saying it to them, we're saying so-and-so should, so-and-so should. Touch your nose, mind your business, stay in your lane. But so my thought was, I just want to make the distinction between investing in the stock market and trading. They're two different things. I'm saying this for myself too, because I often think of the stock market in one way, but literally you can play the stock market 100 different ways, a million different ways. There's just so many different ways to be involved in the stock market. So what I have found is that many people who have buy and hold stocks, they are investors in these buy and hold stocks, will often trade those same stocks. What? Yeah, the same stocks. They are the stocks they're most familiar with. So if you just take FANG, for example, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. I'm pausing because we all need to take a look at Netflix, but let me finish my thought. You can take those four, right? And you're already investing buy and hold. You're already acquiring shares to hold until time immemorial. You can also acquire shares of those same companies to sell, because if you're only trading in 4 stocks or 3 or 2 or 1, you will become intimately familiar with how that stock moves, which makes it much less dangerous for you to play in that sandbox. As with anything dangerous, the more you know about it, the less dangerous it becomes, because the danger is tempered with your knowledge. So that was another big misconception that got exploded for me. I thought people who traded stocks actively were looking at a million different stocks on those screens that they show on TV. Yeah, no, they're looking at 1 to 3. The best stock traders out there are looking at 1 to 3 stocks, and it's the same 1 to 3 stocks. Most of them are looking at the same stock over and over again. They decide that they're going to trade Amazon, let's say, and that's all they trade, because they become familiar, intimately familiar with how Amazon moves. They're not worried about the rest of the stuff, the rest of the stock market, just the one stock. That's important, right? Because again, amateurs think that you have to know all the different stocks. You don't have to know all the different stocks. You just have to know one. And as I just said, it's usually something that's already in your buy and hold portfolio. Okay, so back to Netflix. Netflix is having some trouble. And so for those of us that have a position in Netflix, it's time for us to take a look at how much trouble they're having and seeing, what's going to happen. Like, as I've said to you before, when you invest in big companies like the FANG stocks, you don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to hear about challenges. Like, I don't even watch the news, and I'm hearing about challenges that Netflix is having. So I'm going to take a look at it this week and decide if they're having enough challenges that I'm going to close my position, or if I believe that they're going to figure it out for the long haul. There has been an advent of a number of different streaming services, especially during the pandemic. So definitely viewers have different options. But Netflix has been in the game long enough that they have some other ancillary properties. So I'm going to take a look at that. Those of you that have a position in Netflix, you should also take a look. Okay, so I'm going to end on time for once, I think. So it's time for prayer time now, and then after that at 10:30 it's time, 10:30 Eastern, it's time for Sit with Rev Melissa. She's going to be on location. She's out and about, so hopefully we can make it happen. Anyway, till then, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero. Oh, I see I got some comments. I'll check those out after the show. And most of all, remember that now is better than perfect. Go check out my social media to see the story, the news story about me if you haven't seen it already. And I will see you tomorrow. See, I didn't end early. I was almost there. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Later.